Start with the very basics of physics and starting with the definition of physics. Uh, this lecture will constitute of the very basics of concepts of physics that will help you to understand and revise for IGCSE and for O levels both. And I'm sure this will be a quick review. This will help you to review everything quickly. Starting with chapter 1, this is the first lecture of this series. So I'll start with the very basics of with the definition of physics, which is uh, the study or the branch of science which deals, please excuse the writing, which deals with the study of matter, energy, and their relationship. It would be more better the branch of science which deals with the study of matter, energy, and their relationship. Let's see what matter and energy is first. Matter, anything that occupy mass and space. And energy is that gives you ability to do work. After this, we'll study about matter and energy and the relationship with this Rivian series. So the first thing that comes after the definition of this, as it's a Rivian series, so I'll get to the points mainly. The physical quantity. We define physical quantity as the branch, no, anything that could be measured, could be measured, or some student must have heard it in a way that a physical quantity is the one with magnitude and unit. For example, 10 kilograms. 10 is the magnitude and kilogram is the unit. So if you see a quantity, someone asks you in an MCQ or anything like that, that identify the physical quantity. So we'll look for something that has the magnitude and the unit. Magnitude, if we go into that, magnitude is something that defines the quantitative measurement of the quantity. Or we could say that deals with the quantitative measurement, quantity of the substance. Physical quantities further divided into two parts, which are base quantities and derived quantities. Let me tell you that this topic will only help you to understand the thing that you're going to deal with in the later stage. That has, there will be no question regarding these what are base quantities or derived quantities. It's just that you know for your paper 2 or paper 4 or paper 6 that if something comes up that asks you about this, obviously in A levels it has a full complete chapter and the part of the syllabus. The base quantities are those that could be measured on its own or does not depend on any other quantities, or that could be measured directly. Measured directly, and those quantities which depends on base quantity, which depends on base quantities for their measurements. For example, we have a total of 7 base quantities which we could measure directly. Those are mass, with the unit of kilogram. The units are called base units. Mass, time, length, electric current, amount of substance, temperature, and intensity of light. This series will help you in Ravine as well as for your further preparations for the A levels as well. Time as a unit of second, length as a unit of meter, ampere, amount of substance measured in moles, temperature is measured in Kelvin, and intensity of light in candela. This is the unit that we're not going to use for IGCSE or O levels, but this you have studied in O levels, in chemistry. Rest of the units you have used so far. And base derived quantities, for example, density. Density is equals to mass over volume, or force is equals to ma, weight is equals to mg, and so many other. Acceleration is equals to velocity over time. All those quantities which depends on other quantities for their measurements are known as derived quantities. Then comes scientific notation and significant figure. Scientific numbers written in power of 10. The technique of writing your final answer to the power of 10 is that if you have a bigger number, for example, 999, 0, 1, 2, 3, instead of writing this, a number always has a decimal at its end if you don't see it. So when we move the decimal to the left, the number of digits we have moved decides the power of 10. For example, I have moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it will be written as 9.9 times 10 raised to power 7. Then, or if you want to round it off. So it could be written as 10 times 10 raised to power 7. Similarly, if you have a number like this, then when you move the decimal to the right, you get the negative power of 10. Again, the same rule 1, 2, 3, 4. I have moved 4 decimals. So 10 is to power 4, 9.7, 10 is to power 4 alongside with that. So, shortly, that if we move the decimal to the left, we get positive power of 10. And similarly, if we move the decimal uh, to the right, then we get the negative power of 10. How many the numbers you move decides the how much magnitude of the power. Indices कितना आएगा उसके अंदर, it will depend on that how much you. So if we want to increase the power of positive power, we'll move the decimal further to the left. And if we want to decrease the power of positive power, will move the decimal to the right. Similarly, if we want to increase the negative power of 10, we'll move the decimal further to the right. And if we want to decrease the power of 10, we will move the decimal to the left. For example, if we want to make it to the 10 of power minus 3, then I'll write it as, I'll move the decimal further to the as I given कि अगर हम decrease करना चाहते हैं negative power को, so I'll move it like 0.97 times 10 raised to power minus 3. If I want to increase the power of 10, I'll write it as 97 into 10 raised to power minus 5. So by moving the decimal to the left, we decrease the power, negative power, and by moving the decimal to the right would increase the power. Then the significant figures tell you to how much digits you're going to write in your final answer. So the final answers is mostly decided on the calculations that you're making. For example, I'm multiplying 700 with 10, so I'll get 7,000. So now we have a total of 4 significant figures. Zeros to the right of the number are considered significant. Zeros to the left is not considered significant. So to how much numbers I'm finally writing my answer decides on the basis of the calculation that I'm making or the values that I'm using in the equation. So significant figures are basically, for example, if This number has two significant figure. This number also has two significant figure. This has two significant figure. This number has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 significant figures. So if you want further detail on scientific notation significant figure, please comment down below so I could explain that further. Moving on to the last part of this lecture is the prefixes. Rounding off the numbers is also a part of it. I'll explain it to you that if I'm rounding off the number, I have to see that after the decimal whether I have an even number or an odd number. If I have an even number and it's greater than 5, then I will not round it off. I'll leave it as it is. But if after the decimal I have an even number and is less than 5, then it will get rounded off to 0.5. But for odd numbers, it's even if it's greater than 5 or less than 5, in either way it will get rounded off. Prefixes are the something that you put before the unit which explain the magnitude of the unit. The following prefixes you will use in this in your coursework in IGCSE and O levels, and that starting with the negative power, centi 10 raised to the power minus 2, milli 10 raised to the power minus 3, minus 6 is micro, minus 9 is nano. And to the positive side, 10 raised to the power 3 is kilo, 10 raised to the power 6 is mega, and 10 raised to the power 9 is giga. Giga denoted as G, mega denoted as capital M, kilo denoted as K, centi as C, milli as small m, micro like this U, and nano as small 9. You must have encountered nanoseconds, micrometer, millimeter, centimeter, kilograms, kilowatts, kilojoule, megawatts, gigajoules. So this is the unit, the underlined or the circled one. I'll use the highlighter for that. Thus, these are the units. And let me use a thicker one. These are the units: watts, joules, meter, and these are the prefixes which will tell you the magnitude of the unit. Okay, that's it for today. I will continue from here, inshallah, tomorrow. Allah Hafiz.